The Commonwealth has accused Karen Reed of striking her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, with her car after a night of drinking and leaving him in the snow to die. The defense is saying, as they said in their opening statement, that Karen Reed was framed and this is all a cover up. We are at the end of voir dire day. All three witnesses went pretty quick. The judge seemed shocked, which is funny to me because when the attorneys told her, each of them said it would take about 20 to 30 minutes per witness. So less than an hour per witness. And that's what happened today. And then the judge is like, that went faster than I thought. Yeah, it did. She also said, I think you all can probably use the afternoon, and they probably can. They've had quite a lot of breaks, but Tuesday was normally a half day in this trial, so it gives that half day. Let's talk about what happened. The first witness that came in for voir dire, because the prosecution made a motion to exclude witness testimony, and the solution that the judge came to was bringing everybody in for voir dire, and that's what they did today. The first witness is a doctor who has done studies in police dog bites, who identified the injuries to the victim's arm as dog bite and scratch, or consistent with dog bite and scratch injuries. And that's really the heart of that expert's opinion. I think the judge is going to let it in. I think the judge is going to narrow down that testimony to the opinion that the injuries to the victim's arm are consistent with dog bite and scratch, but not that it's inconsistent with an automobile collision. But the other two experts that we saw are going to testify to that. And the witness talking about the injuries to the victim's arm also said that she considered things like the lack of other injury. And not only had that doctor worked as a forensic pathologist coroner, but also worked in one of Los Angeles's busiest emergency rooms and level 1 trauma centers at County USC. So that witness has seen all different types of injuries, and also just because life worked as a police officer and was also trained in accidents. So a tremendously qualified and very uniquely qualified expert who came to the attention of Alan Jackson because she is working a cold case with a cold case district attorney in Los Angeles, where Alan Jackson also used to work and actually ran for district attorney. But that district attorney, who knows Alan Jackson because they worked in major crimes together, reached out to Alan via text and said, hey, I've got this witness on another case who's heard about your case. You might want to talk. And then Alan contacted her. They talked, and now she's coming in. I think the judge will allow that witness to testify. I will be very surprised if she does not, because there's no reason to exclude it. And the judge, I think, is signaling to the prosecution she's going to allow this in by saying, Mr. Lally, let me know if you will need extra time if this witness testifies, because those are the things to remedy any late turnover from the defense, is to give Mr. Lally more time. Does that mean this jury might end up deliberating over 4th of July? Probably. Yeah, probably. Does that mean we won't be on jury watch while I'm at VidCon? Yeah, maybe. So that'll be interesting. So the next two witnesses wrote, it seems, their report together. So a lot of what was in that report said we. Both of those witnesses work for a private accident reconstruction firm and have different specialties and seem eminently and immensely well qualified. One of them has testified in over 150 different matters. The other one has testified in over 20 different trials. They helped redesign the NHL hockey rinks to cause less injury. They are biomechanical experts, and they were brought in as part of the federal investigation. So they were hired by the Department of Justice to testify at the grand jury that is looking into this case. It is incredibly unique that there is an ongoing federal thing while there is an ongoing state trial. Often the feds don't start their investigation till after there is a trial, and then they start looking into those violations, or before a trial is ever underway and they intercede. This is very odd to have the overlap of that federal investigation and grand jury while this trial is ongoing. Both parties in this case asked the judge to continue this case when they were made aware of that federal investigation and grand jury and witnesses who testified. And the judge said no. So what is the result of that federal investigation? We don't know yet. After this trial concludes, I will go back and look more into what is known. There were several court hearings about it, but I wanted to go into this case like a juror and try to keep my outside information limited. So we will dive into that again because I'm sure we will hear more from it after this case concludes. No matter what the jury finds after this case concludes, there will be more to hear about that. So those witnesses both testified. I don't think the court is going to limit their testimony. I don't think the court is going to be able to keep out their conclusions. Neither side hired them. There's no discovery violation. That information was turned over by the DOJ. And the Commonwealth said, my questions were answered by these witnesses. The report kept saying we. So I didn't know who did what. Not to tangent on the fact that that might be hyperbole, but a large number of the prosecution's witnesses said we throughout their entire testimony, and nobody had a fit about it. But whatever, the prosecution said, I need to know which expert did what, and now they know. It wasn't until the judge started prodding a little more that the prosecution was like, oh yeah, and I don't like conclusion number 4. Conclusion number 4 is that the victim, John O'Keefe's injuries cannot be determined. The head injury cannot be determined to come from a motor vehicle collision. So we're going to see what happens with that. The judge is going to rule Thursday. Remember, no court on Wednesday. And one last time to remind you that the Lawnerd app is ready for you. The volume of Lawnards in this app is absolutely incredible, but I will keep you in the loop when I go live, when we are doing things, and importantly, when the witnesses you want to see testify and when there is a verdict.